What's up, twin? Um, I'm not gonna cap. Today's been a pretty weird day. Um, and this video literally just came to me probably like 15 minutes ago when I got out the shower. Um, Today's been weird. Uh, I good weird, I guess. I don't really know. Um, there's not really any precursors. The whole premise of this just kind of came to me from earlier. Um, like I said, there's no precursor, so I mean, I'm really just gonna like jump straight into it. Don't mind the different colored socks, by the way. I don't care. Okay. Um, I don't care. It's my house, my socks. I'm gonna wear what I want. Anyways, my mom called me, um, and she was like, "Hey, um, can you help our neighbor?" I lied. Basically, she called me and was like, "Hey, our neighbor's dog. His name's Maverick." She was like, "Hey, Maverick is been seizing, and he's been peeing himself, and he can't get up." And then she told me, she was like, our neighbors decided that they're gonna put him down, right? Um, Fast forward, I helped get him in the car. They left, whatever. Kind of the rest is self-explanatory. I'm not gonna lie, I was sad. After they left, I kind of just like looked at my dog. We were playing in the front yard. I kind of like looked at him. We were playing, and I kind of like for a minute, I kind of like disassociated because I'm just like looking at him, thinking I was like, he doesn't know it, but I know kind of how all this happens at the end of the day. What happens? Um, but it made me kind of like think about like somebody else's dog. You know what I mean? And the interactions I've had with Maverick, even though he's not my pet, I've barely seen him. But I kind of just think about like how he's affected me, right? Even though it hasn't been anything crazy, because like I said, it's my neighbor's dog. But hello, ma'am. Anyways, I was kind of just thinking about that interaction. Um, hold on. I guess she needs to go. She's so damn needy, guys. Hold on. I'm sorry. Anyways, sorry, guys. Sorry. She told me they're putting him down. Um, I helped put him in the car, and I kind of knew what was happening after there. Like I said, started playing with Midas, and kind of started thinking, got sad, whatever. Anyways, after after they left, I kind of started thinking about my interactions with Maverick, with my neighbor's dog, right? And it's not anything crazy because, like I said, he's not my dog. I didn't really see him a whole lot. I kind of just went over there if she was out of town, and it was like, hey, can you come over a couple hours or like every couple hours to just check on the dogs, make sure there's food, water, throw them in the back, whatever. I'm like, all right, cool, right? But it kind of made me think of just like interactions I've had, or just interactions in general. Right? I was sitting there kind of thinking about like Maverick. He's a yapper. Maverick is a yapper. The moment you come in the door, he's gonna greet you at the door. He's gonna start barking at you, and he gonna let you know he's here, right? And I kind of started thinking about that. And I started thinking about like how there's been times where she also always says she's like, hey, when she asked me to like go dog sit, I guess she's like, hey, like watch TV if you want. Um, Literally, like you can just chill in here, watch TV while they're outside, whatever, right? And I've done that before. Because she has Amazon Prime and I don't, so I kind of like be watching like Invincible or anime or whatever. Um, anyways, I kind of just thought about the different interactions I've had with the dog. Like I'll just be chilling in the living room watching something, and he'll just come up to me and he'll start barking. I'm like, "What's up?" And I'll just talk. He'll bark. I'll talk. He'll bark. Right? And it's not that there's anything like crazy interesting with that, but it's like I'm just sitting there thinking, looking at him. I'm like, you have a personality. You know what I mean? And I appreciate that. Like, and you're not my dog, but I still love you, dude. He's an old man. He walks slow. He kind of got to work himself up to like take steps. You know what I'm saying? To like step up on something, right? But I don't know. I just started thinking about him, right? And I'm like, I know you're not my dog. I like at the end of the day, I'm not gonna be as sad as my neighbor is because I don't see him a lot. She's had him. I don't even know how long. She might have had him since he was a puppy. She might have got him at a shelter. I don't know. However long he's had him is really irrelevant, right? But the point being, I just thought about the different interactions I've had with him, right? And how the fact that he's not even my dog, I appreciate the fact that I was able to have an interaction with like something. I don't even know if I'm making sense, by the way. I'm sorry. This is like I said, today's been kind of weird. I don't even know if I'm making sense, right? But I just found myself appreciating the fact that like having another interaction still just like, at least for me, meant so much more. And I don't even know that it was saying like that the interactions I had with Maverick were like anything crazy because he's just a dog. We can't speak. All he does is bark. I say 5 words. I stop. He barks twice. I'm like, oh really now? Bark, bark. Is that how you feel? Bark, bark, bark. Oh, well I don't know about that, sir. Bark. Like, I don't know. But I found something like fascinating with that. Like, cause Midas, I'm not gonna lie, he don't really bark a whole lot unless I get him like going and like playing, and then I get him to bark. But like outside of like me intentionally messing with him to bark, he don't do it. Same thing with Tiny Dog. She don't bark unless she like in the backyard and she chasing a squirrel. She really bark less than he does. I lied. If there's like somebody walking outside, like passing the street, then they'll bark. But that's not the point. That's not the point. I just find myself in the moment of kind of what was happening, understanding that tomorrow Maverick's not going to be there. If she goes out of town, today's a Monday. If she goes out of town Wednesday, she needs to dog sit. He's not going to be there, right? But despite all of that, I found myself like appreciating the interactions that I had with him, appreciating the fact that I could just be around another dog. I could make another dog happy, you know, seeing how he appreciated our interactions, even though I can't like, you can't tell genuinely, I guess, when a dog's like super happy. I mean, like you can kind of like their facial expressions will show, or kind of like I guess their energy will shift. But like I said, he's an old man, so it's kind of like you can't tell too much. But like at the end of the day, it was still like I appreciate the interactions we had, and I feel like he did too, right? So after that, I was kind of just in a weird mood because it's sad. I was sad, like I said. I just kind of started just pet Midas, loving on him, playing with him, making sure that he was happy. We went on a walk later, and then I kind of just got over it, right? But I don't know. I was like I said, I was really just thinking about that interaction and like how much I really appreciated it, even though he's literally just my neighbor's dog, right? But I don't know. It was just weird, and I found like I just appreciated it, bro. I found interest in the fact that something that isn't mine, that has zero relation to me, can like truly bring me such joy and affect me in a positive light, you know. I'm not saying I'm gonna like look at the world differently or anything like that, but it's just like a subtle interaction, just literally just watching my neighbor's dog for 20 minutes every 3-4 hours or so can like truly make my mood that much better, right? Additionally, later on, like I said, got fine, was over it. I ended up sorry, I just thought I went to the store to get pre-workout, and I just remembered something totally irrelevant because I could yeah, my ADHD was tweaking and my intrusive thoughts really wanted to take over, but I said no. Anyways, we went to the gym, and I saw one of my old coworkers, right? Like I guess this is kind of like where I said this video just like doesn't make sense because today's just been strange, not in a bad way, but I don't know, it's just been odd. So one of my old coworkers, right? And then I was just talking to him for a minute, and I sat there and I just like appreciated I appreciated the conversation we had. We didn't really talk about anything crazy. He was just telling me how he's back in the gym, how he's kind of been inactive for a while, work's been good, whatever. But now he's like ready to like lock back in the gym for real, kind of just like do his own thing, right? And then after that, I started like thinking, I was like, dang, you know, I started thinking about how I appreciate him as a person and the interactions I've had with him, because I found like his name is Ben. So if you're watching this, lay twin, but Ben like knows like the lore about me. I've told him some like very serious like mental stuff, emotional stuff that I haven't told a lot of people in general, right? Because I don't know if like I don't know. I just saw like something in Ben, right? And it was obviously like he'd tell me things. He'd tell me very serious things. So it's kind of like, you know, I see you're opening up to me. Okay, cool. I'm gonna open up to you because I'm starting to feel more comfortable. Whatever. But I just started thinking about like the different interactions I've had with Ben, and how those have affected me, and how I've appreciated that, and how it's literally just Ben is just a guy who I just so happen to work with for like 2 months, and that's it. After those 2 months, I didn't see him for, I don't know, from August to like December, right? And I don't know. I just like I don't know, man. Even like I said, I found that like even just talking to him for a little bit when I saw him in the gym and said what's up, I found like a lot of joy, because like I said, I haven't seen him since I saw him once this break at the store, but it was like literally like 30 seconds. He was leaving, I was going in. It was like freezing cold. I dapped him up and I was like, hey dude, I'm gonna go inside, I'm freezing. And that was like our whole interaction, right? But outside of that, it wasn't till the summer, because I was here before I went back to school. But I found that just even like a 30-second interaction, that I appreciated it so much. Not for anything crazy, but it's the fact that like seeing him having a 30-second interaction just reminded me of all the previous interactions that I've had with him, and how I really truly appreciate who he is as a person, and all the interactions that I've been able to have with him, the things that I've been able to share with him, and how he's helped me grow as a person, even though he may not realize it, or how I feel like I may have helped him grow as a person, just from understanding individualism, and also like perspective. How I see the world isn't how he sees the world. How he sees the world isn't how I see it. We think vastly different. He's his own person, I'm my own person. But I was appreciative of it, even though, like I said, it was just like literally like a 30-second conversation. He was at the hack squat. I got done loading my weights. I looked up. He did like this. I did it back. Cool. Dapped him up. What you hitting legs? Whatever. Cool. Conversation over, right? Because he had to go start, and I wanted to make sure I was still, warm and good. But I just found that even in that little quick interaction, my mind kind of just started wandering, and then I kind of started thinking about who, at least from my understanding, who he is as a person, and how appreciative I am of him, right? And then I don't even know if I'm making sense. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Today's been a good day. Also, I want to preface that today's been a good day. It's been a weird day, but it's been good, right? Also, don't mind the socks. If you got an issue, your mammy. Sorry. Anyways, so after that, I kind of continued my workout. I saw him again, because I was returning something at the front. We started talking, me, the person, or me, him, the person he was with. We were joking around a little bit, whatever. And then even in that was probably like another like just 30-second conversation. They're walking on this, on the treadmill going backwards, which is good. If you don't do that, go do it. Go that incline, max incline, and just walk backwards. Good for your knees and quads. Knees, quads, and ankles. Excuse me. But even in that other 30-second interaction, where there's a stranger there, I was just appreciative, and like we were making jokes. I found that even in that second interaction, that I was again just appreciative of humor, I guess. It kind of just like, I don't know what I felt at that exact moment in time. It's not like I was like racing through emotions or anything. No, I was just in the gym, minding my business, in my own little world, and I saw him again. We started talking, kind of laugh, hee hee ha ha, whatever, right? But even again, in that second interaction, I just found that I just like appreciated him, like still, like we were just sitting there, just making like little quick snarky jokes at each other. He said something, I said something back. He said something, I said something back, and it's not anything crazy, but it's just like I found that I appreciate him for being authentic, for being who he is, for not sitting here and trying to put on a facade just because, oh, he worked with me, so now he has to act a certain way. No, I feel like if anything, and he can testify to this, not in a bad way, Ben's black, I'm black. When I first met Ben, he carried himself in a very respectful demeanor. which is very respectful. Not that he got like bad after I started working with him, but like when I started working with him, he kind of like he just like winded down. He just like let loose. You know, I feel like when I started working with him, that was kind of when like his true personality like shined out. Cause like when I first met him, and I first was working with him, he was kind of more serious. You know, joked around because I was, you know, we're with each other 8-9 hours a day. Kind of joked around, not too much, but like towards the end of it, Ben was very unserious. We're joking the whole time. He's throwing jabs at me, I'm throwing jabs back at him, and kind of like I said, to take that to go back to seeing him on the treadmill with his friend. I was sitting there and I was appreciative of like, dang, bro, you know, I only knew you, or I still know you, but I only worked with you for like 2 months, and we can have this conversation right now, and I appreciate this conversation because it'll take me back to a point in my mind where when I first met you, how different our interactions were, and how I've grown as a person from interacting with you, right? I hope that makes sense. Yeah, and I was just really, really appreciative of that, of seeing him again, you know, and it was cool. Ben's my dog. I love that boy, right? And then the third one, the last, I guess, interaction you could say. So I'm an athlete, like I said before. I'm an athlete, so I gotta be explosive. I have to, right? Anyways, I had a little circuit going. I lied. I was doing box jumps, because that's what the premise is. The other two things I was doing don't really matter. I was doing step-in box jumps. I didn't really count how many steps I was walking in. I was kind of just like running in place, take a couple steps whenever I felt right, boom, jump, whatever. Anyways, I'm doing box jumps. I had all the boxes stacked up besides one. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how it was. There's a 24-inch box. There's an 18-inch box. There's a 12-inch box and a 16-inch box. Don't know how tall it is. You do the math, right? So I was first. I did the 18, the 24, or no, I did the 24, the 18, and the 12 because I kind of just progressed into jumping higher. So I did 24, 18, and 12. And this guy came over, and he's like, "Hey, dude, like you can dunk, right?" Also, not really like context. I do plyos a lot. It's kind of just one of my things that I just really like doing. And even if I was an athlete, I would still do it just because I really like it a lot. But he came up to me before in the past and acknowledged, he was like, "Hey, dude, you're really strong. You jump high, whatever. Like, are you a hooper? What's your sport?" And I told him, I was like, "No, I'm track. Never been a hooper. I unfortunately have the syndrome. If you know, you know. Sorry, my genetics didn't tap into that side." But I was telling him, I was like, "No, dude, I've never been a hooper. I've never been able to dunk before I can touch the rim. But in terms of actually getting the ball in the net and like following through, maybe like holding on to the rim or like sliding off. I don't know. I've never dunked. I've never ever been able to dunk in my whole entire life. Okay, is what I'm getting at. Fast forward, I can dunk now, sort of, kinda. My internship, I dunked at my internship, right? Which when I first got there, I couldn't dunk. When I left, I could. Anyways, just like I said, I've talked to this guy before. I've interacted with him before. I remember his face. Don't remember his name. He didn't say his name. I doubt he knows mine. But that's not the point. Anyways, he was telling me, he was like, "Dude, like you jump like really high." He was like, "Dude, you gotta go to the Y and see if you can dunk, bro. Because I see what you're doing here. You throw some weight around. You're really strong. You can jump really high, bro." He was like you can dunk, bro. Even if you don't think you can, like you can dunk. And I was telling him, I was like, "Hey, I've dunked over the summer. It wasn't like on an official like court, but I was like, I've done it before. I kind of figured it out." And he was like, "Dude, you got to go to the Y. Like you can do it. You can dunk." And then he was telling me, he's like, "I'm a basketball player, or not like a basketball, like he hoops a lot. He hoops in his free time." He was like, "Dude, I hoop all the time. I can't dunk. I can't jump that high, whatever, right?" And then I'm not gonna cap. He was kind of glazing me, just because I could jump really high. I'm not gonna lie, it's really high. It's almost the equivalent to my height, and I'm 6 foot flat. You do the math though. 24 plus 18 plus 12 plus 6. Don't know what that is. I can't do mental math. Sorry. Anyways, but I found that even, or no, also, hold on, I'm gonna come back to something. Sorry. I found that like even in that, that was kind of like a more of a sort of kind of conversation, because it was like I was taking my rest, and then he came up, we started talking, whatever, and then I told him, I was like, hey, I'm finna add the 6 inches on top, so I'm gonna do like all the boxes stacked up. And then like I said, he was just telling me, yo, you can jump high, you can dunk, blah blah blah, and then I don't. I was kind of just like thinking about it, and I'm like, dang, I'm not gonna lie. I know a lot of the things that I do in the gym are seen, because I mean I don't do a lot of like regular lifts. Not saying that like I do like crazy stuff, but I kind of try. I'm an exercise science major, so I try to like follow the rules. Science. I try to stick to science. I try to think about positioning, different angles. I just really try to think about like what I'm doing, right? Opposed to like, hey, let me just sit in this machine and just do this because I know this works said muscle, right? No, I try to think about, okay, how can I take this regular exercise, modify it to where, what muscles 1 through 10 are gonna get worked no matter what, right? But muscle 10 is the main one. I try to modify it to where, like, we take the modification and then 10 muscles aren't turning on anymore. Maybe it's like 3 of them, and then the main one that you need is obviously the one that's gonna turn on, right? What I'm getting at is I don't do a lot of regular exercises that you see people do in the gym. I'll do the exercise, but I'll just modify it just a little bit to take out maybe like stability that may be needed, or if core's involved, maybe I'll change it to where core doesn't need to be involved. Make sure certain angles are like correct to maybe get a proper stretch or whatever. I don't know. I'll just modify them just a little bit to take out other muscles that don't need to be turned on, or so other muscles can turn off, so the main muscle can turn on. There we go. And then additionally, I do a lot of plyos. I do cleans. So it's kind of like when I'm in the gym, people see me. I also have a massive fucking afro. You can't miss this damn afro. It's literally at school. It's my staple. Everybody knows me because of my damn afro. Anytime, half of the time when I go somewhere, that's the first compliment I get. Oh my gosh, I love your hair, I love your afro. I'm not complaining, by the way. I love getting compliments about my hair because I take a lot of pride in it. But to go back to the guy, sorry, I got a little off topic there. A lot of the things that I do are seen in the gym, right? And he's seen what I've done before, and I guess you could kind of say he's seen the progress that I've made. But even in that interaction with him telling me, he's like, dude, you're really athletic, you can jump really high, whatever. I was appreciative of that. Excuse me. I was appreciative of that because I'm not gonna lie, in my mind, when it comes to the gym, I don't really have like self-doubt, but because I have a lot of confidence, especially in the gym. I have a lot of confidence. I don't have an ego, but I have confidence. But in the gym, I feel like I have these like goals in mind that I'm stronger than what I really am, or I can do this, when it turns out I flat out might not be able to, right? And so I'll kind of like, I don't get in my head, but like because one thing that I've mastered essentially is I have the ability to just get over something like that, right? For undisclosed reasons, not that they're bad, but I have the ability to, like, if a lift goes bad, right, and I don't get it, let's say it's a PR, I really want to hit a PR, I've been planning it out, thinking about it, proper periodization, whatever, PR day comes, cool, don't get the PR. I'm not mad about it. I get over it just like that, right? It is what it is. I'm not pressed that, dang it, I didn't get it, I'll get it next time, right? But I feel that, like, in my mind, that I work really hard, so I feel like I should be able to get that PR. I should be able to jump higher. I should be able to clean more. And then at the end of the day, like, I don't get it. I might miss the jump. I don't catch it on the clean. I might, like, I don't know. I'll miss lifts, basically. I'll miss lifts. Like, don't get me wrong, I get over it, but it kind of irritates me because I really wish that I did it, because I truly feel like when I hit a lift that I'm like really wanting to hit, I feel amazing. I feel so fucking good about myself, right? And it doesn't bring me down when I don't hit it, but it's like, damn, it is what it is. Maybe we'll hit it next time, right? But to go back to the interaction with him that I'm kind of talking about, I found that, like, whereas I might miss a lift, and I might, I'm just like, it is what it is. Other people see that, and they're like, other people see what I do, whereas I feel like I don't see what I do. Obviously, because we're in first person. If we're in third person, that'd be different, right? But I feel like when I don't hit a lift, like, it's just like, damn, it is what it is. Whereas like other people see what I'm doing, and they're like, dang, this guy's really, like, he's doing some cool stuff over there, right? Whereas it's like, I don't think anything of it because it's what I'm used to. It's what I'm used to doing. It's how I've been training. I've been doing plows. I've been trying to do explosive movements, whatever, right? But I think it's like hearing him say that I could jump really high and he, it'd be cool if I could dunk, whatever. It just brought me like, it was kind of like, hey man, don't get me wrong. Yeah, you didn't power clean what you wanted to, but you're still getting better. You may not see it because you're not making the weights that you want, or you're not jumping as high or as far as you want, but somebody else sees you jumping high as hell, and somebody else thinks that's cool. Somebody else sees that all the work you're doing is paying off, whereas I'm not gonna lie, personally, I don't feel like the work, like, in my mind, I feel like all the work that I do in the gym, I don't see it pay off. Like, to be honest, right? It's like, on rare occasion, I like truly like go heavy, right? I actually have a massive problem with pushing myself and actually being strong. I know I'm strong. My body can take on the weight, get up or squat, whatever it is. I'm not a heavy squatter. Like, I know I can do it, but I truly have a problem with pushing myself to do it, right? So like, perfect example, yesterday I was front squatting, and I hit a new PR. I didn't plan on it, but it was 295. My new front squat PR is 295. I didn't plan on PRing. I just planned on front squatting. But then also 275. I've done that like twice ever. And it felt really good. So I was like, fuck it, we ball. We're just gonna make a 20-pound jump. Cool, got it, right? But I feel like genuinely, internally and physically, I could have done more. But I have a problem with pushing myself, right? And I work significantly better for somebody around me. Like, when I work out with people, I genuinely push myself because I'm like, hey, somebody's watching me. I have to be the example, right? But outside of that, I don't push myself as hard as I should. And it's just an issue of mine, right? But like I said, to go back to the interaction, I just found that even though I may not push myself as hard as I need to, and I should, somebody else sees me pushing myself, and they see the work that I put in, whereas I don't see the work that I put in, if that makes sense, right? And I just really appreciated that, because like I said, I go in and I do my box jumps. I think it's regular. Let's say I miss one. I'm like, get your big ass up there, do it again. You get your ass up there. That's how I talk to myself, right? But then how it's different is somebody else tells me that they see what I'm doing, and that they appreciate what I'm doing. They see the work that I put in, whereas I truly don't. I don't see all the work that I put in. I don't think that I work nearly as hard as I should. I don't push myself nearly as hard as I should. But somebody else does. Somebody else sees what I do, and they're like, hey, he's pushing himself really hard. Hey, he's doing this, he's doing that. And I guess they appreciate that. I don't know. I don't even know if I'm making sense, bro. I'm sorry. But, like, and this is what I was actually going to go back to earlier. So I'm doing my box jumps, or I'm doing my circuit. I got done with it, so I'm kind of taking a break for a second. And I had grabbed another box, and then I think it was like a worker, and then another person. I guess she was like training her. She came in, she was like, hey, are you using this? And I was like, yeah. I just told her I was using it, but I was like, you're not in the way or anything. And then I also told him, I was like, hey, I'm going to be doing box jumps right here. So I was like, don't freak. I was like, I don't want to freak you guys out, or like, I don't want y'all to think like I'm in y'all's way or y'all are in my way. But I was like, hey, I'm going to be doing box jumps, so I just want to let you know, right? And then, not the trainer, but the other woman, she was like, you're jumping up that? And I was like, yes, ma'am. I was like, yes, ma'am. That was really it. I was finna start saying more words. It really wasn't even like that. She was like, you're jumping up there? And I was like, yes, ma'am, I am. She was like, that's like really high. That's really impressive. I was like, oh, well, thank you. I really appreciate that. And even that one, right? Even that kind of just like reminded me. It didn't even remind me of anything. I don't know where I'm going with this, but even like that interaction, what I'm getting at is I appreciated that. Don't know her name. Don't know if I'll ever see her again. I'm assuming I will because she was with the trainer, so I'm assuming she's gonna work out. She's gonna start going. I don't know. But anyways, she gave me a compliment. I appreciated the compliment, but I found that like even in just that other random interaction, somebody else saw the work that I'm putting in, and they see that I'm pushing myself, whereas I don't think I am. They see what I'm doing and they appreciate what I'm doing. Right? I'm assuming she appreciated. I don't know if she appreciated it or not. I don't know. Why would she appreciate what I'm doing? I don't know. Anyways, it was just she gave me a compliment. I appreciated the compliment. She acknowledged the work that I was putting in, and she was impressed with it. She was impressed with the fact that I could jump high. She was impressed with the fact that I could do something like that. Because truthfully, in my gym, we have a handful of athletes, but you don't like. I just feel like how I work out in terms of plyometrics and stuff. Like there's like four people who I've ever seen who do power cleans or snatches. It's me, a black guy, a white guy, and then a lady who does CrossFit, right? What? Anyways, but like box jumps, another thing. You don't ever see anybody in my gym doing box jumps, like ever. And if they are, they're not like loading the boxes up how I do. They'll probably just take that 24 one. And I'm not dissing anybody, by the way. And like I love seeing people do plyos. I really do, because I think it's the best form of exercise possible. One of the best, in my opinion. But it's one of those. Whereas like you don't see a lot of people do that stuff. You don't see a lot of people do power cleans or snatches or high box jumps or broad jumps or sled pushes, because that was another thing I was doing was heavy sled pushes. You don't see people do those things, whereas for me it's kind of just part of how I work out, how I train. Whereas another person sees it and they're impressed with it, and they think, hey, this guy must really push himself to do these things because it's hard. Doing high box jumps is hard. Pushing a fucking sled is hard. Doing power cleans, that shit's hard, right? And I guess now that I'm speaking out loud, I guess I'm not giving myself as much credit as I really should, because, like I said, I hit a PR yesterday. I'm not even, like, recognizing that till, like, right now. I hit a PR yesterday, you know? And there's something in that. I actually hit 2 PRs yesterday. I hit a, front squat, and then single leg box jumps. I had made the, 24, 12, 18, 16. I don't know. I hit a PR for single leg box jumps. Obviously with the start. I'm not just standing there, boom, one leg. No, I took a running start. But what I'm getting at is the interaction with the lady and the trainer. They saw that I was working hard, and they saw, I guess you could say, fascination in it, whereas I don't. I don't recognize the work that I put in, whereas other people do, and other people, I guess you could say, appreciate it. I don't know. There's actually been a lot of times where I've been in the gym, because I like to work out in the corner. I have my own corner that I work out in. If nobody's there, it's a free gym. You're paying there. You're paying to go there just like I am. If you got there first, you're there first. You know what I mean? But there's honestly a lot of times where I'll be doing something in the gym, and then I'll kind of have people like stop and watch me, you know. And I think it's cool. I have no issue with people like watching what I do or like being looked at. Like for a couple weeks ago, for example, I was doing single leg box jumps, and then it was an elderly lady, and I'm assuming her husband. They kind of like they got done with their stuff, and then they stood at the door, and they were just like watching me till I got done, right? But even in that, and speaking on it now, they saw something, and they were just interested in it or fascinated by it. Whereas in my mind, I just think it's a regular day. I'm doing what I need to do to make myself hopefully 1% better, or I'm doing something to make my athletic status, and I don't appreciate the work that I put in. Whereas, like, I don't appreciate the work that I put in, but I appreciate the interactions that I have because of said work that I'm putting in, you know? I appreciate the fact that people think what I do is impressive, whereas myself, I don't think what I do is impressive. And I mean, that's different because I've been working out for a minute, you know, I've been an athlete for a while, so I kind of have to train hard, I have to do said things. Can I help you? You're interrupting my flow state, my nigga. But damn it, he fucked me up. Minus, you fucked up my feng shui. What? Well, all right. I don't know. I hope something that I said in this made sense. I really don't know. Like I said, today's kind of been a bit of a weird day because of earlier today with my neighbor's dog, and then, you know, I was kind of like in an iffy mood, and then I went to the gym and I felt in a way better mood because of somebody that, because of a previous coworker, and then somebody giving me a compliment, and him seeing the work that I put in, and him, you know, him telling me that I should, I think, like, him telling me you should, like, do more, but in a good way. I guess, like, push myself more, whereas I don't push myself enough, you know, and I was appreciative of that, bruh. I think what I'm just trying to get at, if nothing in this video has made sense, I hope this makes sense. What I'm trying to get at basically is appreciate the interactions that you have, right? I'm not saying it because, obviously, because you don't know what's going to happen next. Like Maverick, for example, I was literally just at their house yesterday. I took him outside so he could go potty. But appreciate the interactions that you have. I don't think that any interaction that you have is of little significance. I think all of them are of the utmost important significance, simply because your life is unique to you, right? And I tell myself that everything happens for a reason, but it's kind of just like one of those things where it's like, I think that every interaction that you have is a part of your story, right? It's part of that. If you were to write a book about your life, however many chapters it'll be, let's say I live to 100, we're just going to say 100 chapters, right? My book is going to be different than yours. Your book's not going to have the fact that you had a 10-second conversation with some lady because she thinks you can jump high and that's cool, you know. Just appreciate the interactions that you have, because I don't think any interaction is of little significance. I think all of them are just as important. Obviously, some of them are more important than others, but appreciate it, no matter what it is. You know, you may think it's not anything crazy. It might not be anything crazy to you, but I think somebody else, it might mean a lot to them. And you don't know that because you don't know people's minds. You don't know how they think or operate. But, yeah. I hope something I said in this makes sense. I'm going to play my dog. Yeah. I love y'all. Y'all stay safe.